Hello and welcome back to Union Fibre Dye Studio. I'm Bonnie. This is my dye studio in my garage where I dye all sorts of wool and yarn and fibre. And today I am sharing another tutorial that I've been meaning to share for about a year now. It is beautiful fibre dyed with landscapes dyes. So similar to my previous dye tutorial. In fact, it's the same method, just different dyes in different placements. So you can go back and look at that video if you like, just to clarify a few techniques that I use. And then in this video, I'm going to show you how I got these beautiful colors. So a nice Lichen green. I've used some Heath. I've used some Dusk. I think I've used Clematis, and I think maybe Sage. It's been a while since I've watched the video that I edited. So, but it'll show you in the video. So I'm really professional here. Because I have a limited window on getting this done and I don't have time to go back through my video right now. So anyway, I have used landscapes dyes. I have listed in the tutorial what dyes I've used and how much. And yeah, I just thought I'd show you quickly too. I can't remember if I showed this in one of the videos, but I've got these really great color cards from Landscapes. And they have, little samples dyed in the different colors so that you can get a really clear idea of what white wool will look like dyed at full concentration. So we've got their standard range, which have some beautiful brights and primaries and just some real staple colors. And then this is their elements range, which is a really nice neutral, well, not neutral, but they're muted. You know, they're not quite the same as those brights. So they're just a really fun combination of beautiful hues. And it can be really great just to mix up some of the colors from the different sets. And most of the ones that I use a lot of the elements, but I do have a few from that set as well, because I do like some of the bright colors. So this was the one I did originally, and I think this was a batch that I did to try and recreate this one, but I think I've forgotten that sort of aqua color in there, which has that nice aqua hue. It's not in this, but this is very beautiful. It's turned out really nicely. All of this is Haunui Wool from Haunui Farm in New Zealand here. Some of the most stunning wool in the world, in my very humble opinion, and I highly recommend sourcing that for just dyeing some fiber. There's so many different bases, and it's just truly world-class wool. So yeah, I always like to plug them because I think what they do and the way they do it is really incredible. So anyway, this here has that nice aqua color in it, but again, you can do whatever you want. You can change up the blue in this. You can change up the pink and do like a brighter pink, you know, like something like one of those pinks in there. Or you can do like a diluted version of some of the more plums. It's really your own imagination and your willingness to take risks and play. So I recommend just look at the method that I use. And again, you can refer back to the other video because there might be a few things that I have in that one that I don't include in this one that just might be an added sort of tip here and there. Just play around and see what combinations you like to use. So again, these are using the Landscapes dyes, which are from Australia. And they're fairly easy to get. There are some stockists in New Zealand, and then you can just buy direct from Kraftcolour as well. So I'll leave something in the description box. I have wool all over me, and I'm very itchy. I've been dyeing wool this morning, so always covered in fibre, and it's always sticking to my face. That is that. There's no reason why you can't use other dyes with this method like Dharma or Ashford, but they are going to be a different concentration. So that's actually a little note. I'm going to be doing a Q&A shortly, but just to give you an idea of, that's 500 grams. So we've got here, just to show you the difference in concentration, this is 100 grams of Landscapes dye. This is 10 grams of Ashford. they dye the same amount of fiber. So 10 grams of ashford will dye 1 kilogram to a full concentration of wool or protein fibers, like silk, for example. 100 grams of landscapes will dye 1 kilogram of wool. So it's just, yeah, the landscapes come with some of the fixatives and different like additives to sort of, so that their dyes across the board are like, they're pretty user-friendly. And that way, you know, whereas ashford will have just their few basic colors that they do at full concentration, whereas the landscapes, you know, might have in this 100 grams will have not so much dye powder and a lot more additives to kind of level out so that you're always using a teaspoon to, you know, per whatever to get, that sounds really confusing. It's a bit more user-friendly, so you don't have to worry as much about color mixing or knowing about color mixing. And that can be a huge plus for people who are just, the whole process of wool dyeing is kind of terrifying. And so where do you even start? I would say that landscapes are just such a user-friendly type of dye to use. I still add a little bit of citric acid or vinegar when I'm using them, but it's usually because I'm using other dyes as well that don't have the fixatives. So in the video, I do show that I add citric acid. The other thing too is that I have found that if I don't add the citric acid, for me personally, maybe it's the water that I'm using rainwater here, that sometimes not all the dye absorbs. So I'm having to add citric acid or vinegar anyway. So I just add it at the beginning, and I never have an issue with having too much acid in. But again, I use a ratio, which is in the tutorial. So that is that. The video will follow, and I also will have likely a Q&A video up just after this video or just before it. So either way, it'll either already be up or it's coming soon. So yeah, that's how you get this beautiful, lovely color on the Haunui fiber. I think too, I didn't put this one in the video. So if you want this one, I seem to recall I put 1 teaspoon of Heath, 1 teaspoon of Dusk, 1 teaspoon of Lichen, and half a teaspoon of Clematis to get that look. So I will hopefully write that in the description box as well. But yeah, just for this particular one, it's a little bit different to that one. So if you like the look of this one, those are the 4 colors I used and the ratios that I used for 100 grams of wool fiber. So anyway, please enjoy the tutorial, and I will be back with some Q&As at some point soon. So here I've got some Haunui fiber, about 27 micron, fog color, going into the pot. This is dry fiber. I find this one absorbs water quickly, so I don't pre-soak it. Some blends you're going to find really need soaking, especially if they've got silk or if they have extra fine fibers in them. Here is the colorway Heath. I'm using actually 2 teaspoons. You'll see me add a second one here because this is a bit of a lighter colorway. So I add hot water to dissolve the dye. So it's about half a cup of hot water that I add. And I'm just pouring it into this quadrant. So for this color I separated, you'll see the pan sort of visually into 4 quadrants. And now next I'm using Lichen, and I've just done 1 teaspoon of Lichen. Again, half a cup of hot water to dissolve. And there I'm just pushing the Heath colorway around, and I'm being gentle. The water's not super hot at this point. It's like a hot bath water. And I'm just being careful not to over agitate it. So I pour over the Lichen. And now here I'm just rinsing any of the extra dye that's left in the measuring cup. And pushing the fiber around just to disperse the dye a little bit and get the colors blending a little bit. You can see how the Lichen mixes with the Heath to create a really lovely peachy color. So next I'm using Clematis, and I'm using 1 teaspoon of that. That's quite a saturated color compared to Heath. So it's a lovely purpley blue. And again, just rinsing out my measuring cup. So again, just using my spoon gently to move dye around in any spots that I think I want to push it around. The next color is Sage, and I'm only using a dash. 1 dash is 1/8 of a teaspoon. So again, this color I found is a bit stronger than some of the other ones. So again, 1/2 cup of hot water, and I just pour it around. And when this mixes with the pink Heath color, it's gonna make a really lovely kind of purpley hue. I really love the way these colors mix together. So at this point, I am going to put the lid on and bring my pot up to temperature, and I'm going to hold it at about between 82 to 92 degrees Celsius, so not quite a simmer, and I'm going to hold it there until the dye has set. And this is anywhere between about 40 minutes to an hour and a half, depending. But I just like to do it gently so that I don't scald the fiber. And here is the finished braid, which I'm going to go and spin. Thank you for watching.